everybody this evening. This was really wonderful because Bob was really close by to give me his ohms. That really gives me lots of energy to work with, and I appreciate that extra sound. And I appreciate all of you ohming in your own homes and joining in with the group. It is so nice to be with you in this evening. So first, I'm going to get you all a healer. Remember, if there's anyone you want to send healing to, just think of the names and ask your healer to also heal those individuals that you desire to be healed while he is with you and healing you. Don't worry, he can do all that healing all at once, or she, whatever your healer chooses to manifest as. And so I will get them all lined up now. One moment, please. Okay, the healers are in place, and next voice you hear will be Ron Carr speaking through the medium. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Good evening. It is my pleasure to be with you in this evening. It is I, Ron Carr. So what shall we talk about this evening? Perhaps I will talk about the divine essence of you, because it is a wonderful topic, and I wish you all to know and understand that there is only one. There was only one, and this one had the total power of everything. And he, this total power, this one, this essence, is he who you refer to as God. And some people may call him Allah. Some people may think of him as Krishna, for he has come under many names because he is inherent in each and every one of you. And this God, the power that was within him, he decided to manifest this whole creation. We do not understand why he did this. We just know that everything has come from that one source, which is usually referred to as a divine essence known as God. And it is interesting if you contemplate that. For then, what are you made of? What is the earth made of? What is the chair you are sitting in? Or wherever you are relaxing? What is this made of? It can only be the substance of God. Everything that is made up from the substance of God's being. He conceived it forth, manifested into existence. He created you, he created me. He set forth the evolution and the power that became this whole universe, all the universes, for there are many, as your scientists have seen. He set them all into motion. And so everything is one. Everything is attached to, if you wish to think of it that way, attached to one another, because you are all made up of the same substance, the substance of God. And if you think about that in regards to yourself, what does that say about you? You are made up of the substance of God. And I will tell you, you are part of God's being. And if you think just a moment about any creator, anything you have created in your life, does not that which you have created remain with you? At the very least within your mind, within your heart, Are you not pleased and happy with your creation? Whether you have chosen to create a picture, write a book, bake a cake, any child you might have brought forth into manifestation through the substance of your own being, is that not always with you, in your heart, in your mind? And so everything in this creation is always part of God. For God loved his creation. Everything is manifested from himself and remains part of himself because God loved his creation and loves his creation. And so think of yourself. There you are, a part of God's creation. And you are made up of the substance of the being of God. Every cell and fiber of your being is but a manifestation of God's design, God's idea working perfectly. And so you are a manifestation of God in action. And if you think about what do we know about God, what can we learn about God from looking at that which he has created? Well, we know he is a creator, and he has made you a creator in his image. For you have the power of your mind to create the life that you live. Every part of it. You have a thought about how things should be. And perhaps you take actions and strive to manifest that thought and bring it into being, outside of yourself or within yourself. And as such, you are the creator of your life. For everything, every decision you make, every thought you have, shapes the life that you live. You make decision after decision after decision all day long. What you will eat, what you will drink, where you will go, what you will do with your time. And these decisions determine what you will experience. Will you experience resistance because other people don't want what you want? And they have their own free will. And they are creators in their own rights. So therefore, the life that you live is as much a creation of what you want to manifest and what others also want to manifest and what they will allow to manifest. It gets very complicated, but you are the creator of your life. And more importantly, how you assess your life, how you judge what is happening around you affects you greatly. When you make judgments which say, I am not happy over this, you cause yourself unhappiness. When you say, this is good, I like this, you cause yourself happiness. You are the manifester in every day of your own happiness or unhappiness by your judgments, your thoughts, and even your actions. You can choose to do things. You can make things good. You can make things bad. You may make incorrect decisions that are not in your best regard. But these are all things that you do in earnest judgment about what is good for you and what you would like to manifest and what you would like to experience. So you are the most powerful creator in your life. And you determine what you experience in every day. And so I am going to keep this rather brief tonight in this regard, because that thought, that idea of you as the powerful creator of God, as being God's manifestation on this earth, for you were his idea. He set everything forth in motion that would allow you to come into being at this point in time. And so you are a direct creation of God. And that he has made you a creator in his own image. He has given you that power to create. He has given you the power to judge. He has given you the power to manifest and to take actions and affect the world that is around you. And from those actions that you make and those actions that you take, you will create the world that you experience. And know that sometimes you may err in your thinking. You may misjudge what needs to be done. And you are creating nonetheless. And so what you create may not please you. But know that if you have created it, it is part of you. And you can still change it because you have that power also. And so know yourself as the powerful person that you are. And we will speak more of this at a later meeting. And so, if anyone has any questions on what I have spoken about, please ask them. And if you have questions on other subjects, please feel free to change the subject. You need only to unmute yourself and ask the question. So are there any other questions you would like to ask?
Hi, I have a question that I'm hoping Spirit can sort of guide me, and I guess it's more general. But what I'd like to know is more about how relationships, particularly romantic or partnerships, how those come to be. How do I manifest the right thing, and how do I know when the right thing comes to me versus finding the right person? I'm having my own journey, so anything you can say on that topic would be very helpful.
So you are wondering how relationships come to be, how you
Yeah.
meet people, how to meet people? Is that your question?
No, more how it's meant to is our connections, our partnerships, are these meant to happen? Are they something we manifest? Is it sort of a little bit of both? Is it divine? Is it of our choosing? How do we how do we find our way?
Yes. Well, I will do some speaking around that subject of love and relationships, and hopefully you will get the answer that you are seeking. So there is always that question, are you destined to meet a particular person? Is this a karmic relationship? And some people romantically like to think that a karmic relationship is an especially good relationship, but that is not necessarily true. If it is a karmic one, It is possible that you have caused great problems for one another in a past life, and you must work out these problems. So, therefore, a karmic relationship has just as much chance of being a difficult journey in your lifetime as it does of being a pleasant, nurturing, and uplifting journey. Yes, there are times when you have decided with another while you were in spirit that you would have the opportunity to meet so you could be together on the physical plane to nurture, to guide, and to help one another. But to be honest, that is frequently found within the relationship of parents to their children, because parenting is that nurturing, uplifting spirit and guiding time of parenthood. That is not to say that all parents are wonderful parents or even fulfill the destiny that they have as parents. However, just understand that a karmic relationship is is not necessarily what you are looking for. Now, how do you find a good relationship? Well, obviously, you have to meet a large number of people, and you need to remain open to having relationships with people. And that probably will be helpful. It will probably be helped if you can keep an open mind about people. You must not judge someone on the first meeting, or perhaps even the second meeting, or even the third meeting, but to allow your knowledge of a person to grow. The best relationships will be when you see what is good within that other person, and that person also sees what is good in you. And so you respect one another for that which you perceive to be the good that is found in both of you. You respect him, and he respects you, or she respects you, depending upon what type of a relationship you are running into, whether um, you are male or female, and it is a heterosexual relationship, or perhaps it is a homosexual relationship, and one that is maybe a deep friendship, which can be just as satisfying as a physical romantic relationship. To have a deep friendship with someone who seems to understand you is probably the best essence to have a perfect relationship in the context of marriage, or not marriage, and just being together in supportive and natural ways. And so you need to keep an open mind, but ultimately, what is going to be determined by you is whether this person is good in your eyes. When you believe that a person is good, they become far more attractive to you, either as a friend or as a deeper relationship other than friendship. If you see that someone is not good or has a difficulty, you will naturally not want to have a relationship with them. And so remember that also, that judgment to eliminate or terminate a relationship because you see faults or errors in someone is just the way it is. So now let me think on that just a moment to organize my thoughts. So as you come into a relationship, you have met someone, and you find them perhaps physically attractive, which is often the first thing that strikes a person, so that there is a physical attraction. And then as you learn about them, you may see that they are good in many ways. Now it's important for you to recognize that like attracts like. In other words, if you have problems, you will probably attract people who have problems. If you are happy in your life, you should attract people who are also happy in their lives. But it is up to you to be discriminating and to observe that within someone. In other words, if they are always unhappy over something, well, are you unhappy over things quite frequently? Because that rule of like attracts like is pervasive. And so if you are unhappy in your life and you have problems, you will probably have difficulty meeting people who are happy in their lives. So it's first important for you to be happy with yourself, and that you be ethical, that you be thoughtful, that you be kind, if that is the kind of person that you wish to meet. And I think you would, most everyone would like to have those kind of characteristics in their mate and in their personal relationships. So it's important that you have these things in your life. You might say it is necessary to be truthful. For you to be truthful, as well as the person that you want to have a relationship with, that they be truthful. You want them to be open. You don't want to be manipulated. You have to be careful of all these things, but you need to look for these things within yourself. Do you tend to ask for what you want, or do you try to manipulate someone into doing what you want them to do? Because if you are manipulative, you will probably attract a manipulative person to yourself. And you can just think on that a little bit. Two people trying to manipulate one another. That is the expression, he is always pressing my buttons. That is what is inferred by those kind of words, that this person is always saying and doing things which make me react. Do you do that to others sometimes? Sometimes deliberately, sometimes accidentally. But you need to look at yourself and what kind of problems that you have. If you are quick to anger, you may find yourself attracted to other people who are quick to anger. Now, there are other things which you need to look into yourself. Are you a helper? Do you like to help people? Are you subconsciously seeking out someone who is needy so you can continually help them? The problem with such a relationship is that very often the helper gets tired of helping the other person. And so a needy person, well, the helper is also needy because they need someone that can help in order to be happy. You see, beginning to see how it works to a great extent. And so it's therefore best for you to be the best person that you can be. Truthful, ethical, honest, happy. That's a really big one. To be happy all by yourself without needing anyone in your life. Then you can just share happiness. It comes much easier when two people are happy and they look at their lives and they joyfully join together in creating wonderful things together. So to find a good relationship, thinking about what you want to see within a person or what you would like to have present in your life, check into yourself and see how you are. Are you that kind of person? Are you going to be that kind of person to someone else? That is what is really important. That's what tells you when you have a good relationship going. Does that relationship bring out the best in you? Do you want to be as good as you can be for this person? Do you want to nurture as much as possible? Do you want to give what you can give? And not being unselfish, you need to take care of yourself. So, does the person that you are with give to you? Is he honest? Is he ethical? Because if he is not honest or she is not honest or ethical, you are going to have difficulties in your relationship. If they are not honest and ethical with other people, that tendency to be dishonest and unethical will manifest within your relationship. And I am bringing up all the possibilities I can think of so that you can be aware of these things when you meet people. But I really think the most important thing is that you just make yourself as good as you can be and be as loving and nurturing of other people as you can without sacrificing yourself. For you must also love yourself and be good to yourself. So if you are good to yourself and you love other people, you will have plenty of relationships in your life because so many people will be attracted to all your good qualities. They will want to be with you if you are fun, if you are friendly, if you are helpful, if you are ethical and honest, if you are caring. You will have people beating a path to your door. And then you need to be careful for yourself to find someone who has all those qualities that are good in you. And then you can form an attachment. You will fall in love. You will love somebody that you believe to have all the right qualities. Be careful when you forgive those who do not always have the right qualities, but have some of what you want. Be sure that these lapses of qualities will not be habitual and will not make your life harder, for that is taking care of yourself. So you each need to be independent people who can take care of themselves. And in so doing, they will be able to take care of you. And if you can take care of yourself, you probably can also take care for someone else. And the combined energies, of course, can be extremely wonderful. I hope that has been helpful. It certainly should have given you a lot to think about.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Are there other questions?
Okay, I got one with the kind of along that line, because people say that love is blind. Okay, and you can see it with some people, like somebody's crazy about somebody, and you can see that the somebody they're crazy about is like a rather questionable person. And you try to point it out, and other people try to point it out, but they just seem to see only good in the person and nothing else.
Yes, that happens, and that's what it is. You see, some people, particularly because of that aspect of relationships, which I have mentioned, that like attracts like, they will overlook certain characteristics, which may even be similar to themselves in some way, and not recognize that these two sets of the same characteristic, although slightly different, can result in a great disharmony within a relationship. But yes, love is blind because usually that's for someone who is busy excusing the actions of the other person because they have been hurt too much, or they will, oh, there are many, many reasons. They will excuse the obvious bad behaviors, saying it is not within a person's control, the person that they love. It's not within their control that they are having all this bad luck, or they are always getting into automobile accidents. It's not like they drive drunk, but these things happen. And of course, they must not be driving very carefully either. But and they are busy excusing these bad actions and seeing only what they wish to see. And many times, no one else can even see what they are seeing. So that is the expression, love is blind, because you focus on one thing. You focus on the beauty of a man, or you focus on the beauty of a woman rather than her character. And so all you see is that beauty or that handsomeness. And it is perhaps like the sun in your eyes. You cannot see well that the character that goes along with that beauty needs to be developed in many ways to be as good inside as they look on the outside. And so that is the expression of love is blind. And it is a correct one, for it is true for most people. Excuse me, maybe not most people, but when someone decides to fall in love, it could be on the flimsiest of things that just strikes a chord. And so someone sees the other person as being perfect for whatever reason. Many people fall in love because they believe the other person loves them or appreciates them. You will hear them say that. Why do you love your spouse? Well, he loves me. And that desire to be loved is also a strong one. So if that is the case, even if someone loves you for ulterior motives, so to speak, not for who you are, but for whatever they can get from you or who they think you are, it's just two people being blind. So I think you can understand that love is blind because the person in love focuses on what they love, not the full, well, they just make excuses for that which is not as lovable.
And
You know, there are people who, excuse me?
There's no way to help them, I suppose.
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay.
They choose to see what they see. That is what they are looking at. It is very hard to make someone see something they do not want to see. And so therefore, you probably will not be able to change their mind. All you can do is pray and think that they will come to their mind someday, and they will. But perhaps it will be after they're married and they will get a divorce.
Mm-hmm. But I was wondering why some people get married.
Well, that's true. Why some people don't get married is they go into a relationship as if they were married. And there is always, for some people, not being married keeps them trying to stay in a good relationship with this person. Because sometimes when people get married, they now place expectations upon their spouse that they didn't expect when they were dating and when they were just developing the relationship. And if I have been trying to impress you about myself, once I am married and I no longer have to impress you any longer, I can just be myself. So my behavior may change, or one person's behavior. Do you understand? I was using the my and I merely as an example that it could be the other person was on his best behavior so that he would make the match, so to speak. And then after that, then he could let his real colors show through, or she.
I noticed sometime, well, this is the way it looks. You were saying people are attracted to the same type of person, but yet you could see two people and one is like terrible and the other one is so nice you don't understand why they're with the other one. Is that like somebody hiding themselves?
Um, it could be that which I was speaking about when I said if there is a person who is needs to help others, it is possible that they are being helpful and loving to this person that you can't possibly understand how anyone could stand that person
Mm-hmm.
because they are so unlikable or unlovable. But the person is, they have a spouse that is perfectly wonderful. But sometimes these people do make it work because one fills the need of the other.
Yeah,
And while
notice
they,
that too.
yes, and while they do not, they will, they will simply have a good marriage or good relationship, in spite of the fact one person may be very obnoxious and the other person may not care that they are obnoxious. They don't personalize it, and they do not feel that their relationship defines themselves. And so it does not matter to them that you think that this person, their spouse, is terrible. They have a satisfactory relationship. If it is, as sometimes happens, where again you have a very nice spouse and you have someone who is not nice in general, it is perhaps that spouse who is very nice does not believe they are worthy of having someone love them and treat them well if they are not being treated well. So that dynamic also goes on. But many times when you look at it, you will see that if one person is dysfunctional, the other person is dysfunctional.
Now, when in these marriages where it seems balanced, even though it's dysfunctional, as you say, are they not going forward with their life? Are they not, I don't know what word to use. I want to say maturing, but that's probably not it. Like you said, we're here to create and to go forward with our lives, to create us as we want to be. Are they like stagnated because they're staying in that space?
Not necessarily, not necessarily, just because it appears to you that nothing is going forward, or they are, that this relationship does not seem like it should be a happy one. In other words, you're making a judgment that this very nice person shouldn't be with this awful person. But they may feel a need for one another, and they may therefore help one another, and they can still be moving forward in their lives.
Okay.
Do you understand? It really doesn't matter in your relationship. Your relationship, if it is a challenge and there is a lot of fighting and arguing, well, obviously, then they are not helping one another unless for some reason they enjoy fighting. Yeah. And some people do like a good sparring match now and then. It's a thing of wits as long as it isn't physical. It's ideas may be very different, and perhaps they find that helpful to themselves in their own way because it broadens their viewpoints. So you may judge that relationship should not exist. It does not seem logical to you, but it could be perfectly nurturing for each and one of them, even though they may not agree on the basics. If you can think of it that way, as perhaps a diehard Democrat and a diehard Republican being married together. And yet somehow, even though they have political differences, they still respect one another in other ways, and they help one another in other parts of their life, and they simply do not judge one another for their political differences. They put that aside and value other characteristics in the relationship, and both could be making great progress in their lives.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about this topic, so please advise if this is not something you can address or comment on. Intimate relations, whether it be for marriage or not, I was always under the assumption it's all about procreation, but there's got to be a spiritual, there's got to be some spiritual purpose to intimacy. I don't want to use the word sex, but that's
It is okay
yes.
to use the word sex.
Okay, can you comment on what's that all about? If it's not just to make babies, what other bigger purpose does it fulfill?
Well, certainly does it not give pleasure in the physical world if it is well done by both parties? I mean, I understand that it may not be enjoyable all the time unless you are cognizant in your relationship of trying to please one another. And so is that not just an expression? It can be just a physical gratification. And although you have been taught, as you said, it's all about procreation, and that just physical gratification is not acceptable. Now, why would that be? At some point in time, you always have physical gratification. You would not eat if you did not. You would not survive if you did not eat. And most people take physical gratification from eating. They avoid the foods they don't like and eat the foods that they do like. So are they not being gratified? Of course they are. So there are many aspects of life in which you can, it is fine for you to indulge in physical gratification. I think the old churches mostly wanted to assure that a baby brought into the world would be blessed with, if you wish to use that term, would be cared for to some extent or another by both parents in life. The mother, of course, is usually necessary to be the primary caregiver because she had the method by which she could feed her baby as part of her physical body. And so it was necessary for the woman to take care of the child. And with that burden on the woman's time, it was necessary for the man to also protect the woman in order to protect his child and also to provide for the woman. And in trying to stress that this was the way it should be, they made the rules of saying that it is strictly for procreation and you should not do it. The problem being that if you accidentally procreated when it was strictly for pleasure, that you were indulging in sex, that how would that child be taken care of? And so it was actually, nature provides a great deal for the taking care of a newborn infant. The mother usually, after she has given birth, the hormones that flood her body impel her to love this child that she has been carrying all these years and months time, and that she has now given birth to with much effort and pain and is now holding. And she's flooded with hormones which impel her to love this baby. The father experiences something similar. It is not quite the same, but it is still his child, his progeny. So therefore, there is a great affection for this child, and there is a natural desire to protect the child and provide for the child, which in most cases means that he must provide for the mother, since the mother has the method by which the child will be fed. If she should die, then it is probable that his child would die. We are talking of primitive societies here. So I believe that religion created these thoughts and these ideas to further mandate that this is a family unit and you must be together and help one another. And if you have committed parents before the baby is born, it is probable that they will continue to love and nurture the baby together, and babies together that they have through their enjoyment of sex, as well as in the physical, all the things that go along with family raising, which can be difficult. So it is okay for you to go after things that make you happy and make you feel good. You do it all the time. If exercise makes you feel good, you should exercise. If you hate exercise, you will avoid it anyway. If eating is pleasurable for you, you eat. You have to eat anyway, but you might as well enjoy it. And you must look at sex in the same way. It can be fun and pleasurable, and it will eventually, if you do it enough, it usually results in a baby or procreation, as you have said. And then there is that opportunity for another soul to enter into the world and grow up and give. And so it is highly desirable. Now, another aspect of that could be if you think of old religions, and they always used to tell you that you had to, that there were physical things and there were spiritual things. And these things are separate. Good things could be spiritual. They could also be physical, but there were many things that were physical things which were not spiritual. And so they were trying to foster their religion and an aspect, a knowledge of good behavior and bad behavior, ethical behavior, where you treated other people well. And so if people become focused upon carnal matters, meaning sexual matters, or physical things such as acquiring wealth or power, that these things stop you from being a spiritual being. And that is because you could forget to be ethical and to be fair or kind. And for a society to succeed well, it is helpful when people respect one another and you treat one another with respect, as you're ethical with what you do in your actions. You do not lie, you are honest, you do your best to be good and kind and thoughtful. This, when everyone acts in this way, you have a very benevolent society in which almost everyone is able to prosper and do well. And so this is the purpose of religions, trying to foster these behaviors in others and reminding them and telling them that it's more important to be spiritual and you have to be good, because theoretically, being spiritual and good means that you are ethical and honest and kind and thoughtful and loving and gracious. All these things help to make good relationships. I hope that has answered your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Certainly feel free to enjoy your physical relationships. If you are in a good relationship or any kind of a relationship with someone else, or when the relationship is good for both of you, the physical relationship will be better rather than just being a physical relationship. Are there other questions? Well, everyone is quite quiet. There are no more questions that anyone has to ask or wishes to ask? Then pretty much if there are no more questions, we are at the end of the evening. So I'm asking again. All right. Well, then it has been my pleasure to be with you in this evening. And I guess you couldn't think of any changes or other things to ask. So it is time for me to say goodnight. And I give you all my blessings. Good night.
Good night.